Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I hope everybody's fine and doing good at their place. This is me, Sindhu Anwar, your host for the day. And as you know, it's Monday and the start of the week. So we start off with a bang. We take different educationists with us in our show that is Reimaging Education. And we talk about how education has changed over the time and how much different educationists, mentors, teachers are giving in their efforts to make education more and more valuable in Pakistan. Education has always been something very dear to every student because that's how everybody grows. And if we don't understand the major importance of why we're taking education to actually grow up and become a better human and civilized person in this society, then the whole idea and the concrete of education somehow gets lost. Me being a teacher and being in this field for some time, I've realized that students face the most biggest obstacles when it comes to choosing their careers. They actually go into the fields where everybody is going in without understanding that what is important and where should they actually invest in terms of their potential. I have a very special teacher with me. I want you all to welcome Sir Zeeshan Ansari. Assalamu alaikum, sir. How are you?
Walaikum Assalam. I'm good. Thank you.
So Zeeshan Ansari is actually teaching at Mixer, Foundation Public, and different institutes. He has been in the field for more than 10 years, and he is a great, great teacher in terms of business and accounting. You must have heard about his amazing classes. Students are all over it when Sir Zeeshan comes into class, and they're like, I want to have looks like Sir Zeeshan. He's so, always apt on the time. So Sir Zeeshan, you tell me, how has this been? Your career as a teacher, because obviously it's been a very, very long journey for you as well. You must have experienced so many different things. So I would ask you.
Yes, the total teaching years I have now are 18 years in a row.
Wow.
But during those years, I was teaching at different places. So if we combine those years, which were running concurrently, it is more than about 30 years.
Wow, sir.
Uh,
That's
yes, let's stick to the 18 years timeline. When I started as a teacher, I already was working in the corporate jobs, and I somehow or the other felt that I could be better off as a teacher, both in terms of personal satisfaction and also uh, professionally. So I started looking around and found good opportunities. But I have to tell you that turning point was a very tough choice for me. When I decided finally to go for an A level teaching job, I already had very strong confirmed offers from a multinational bank, number one, and number two, from a very big media group of Pakistan. I'm not going to take their names, but it was a very tough choice for me, for personally myself, and even from the perspective of the family. Because back then, about 18, 20 years ago, professional teaching was still not considered an actual profession. It was considered maybe a transitory job or a temporary job. But I wouldn't like to brag about it, but somehow or the other, I had felt that this field would become more important and a mainstream professional field. So that's how that decision making part came about. I am glad and thankful to the creator that I took that decision, and it has been a very good experience. I've gained a lot in terms of personal development, professional development, and I tell you, the biggest reward to be a teacher is that every day, I am reminded that I contribute in the development of the new generation,
true.
and I think all teachers take pride in that. Uh, but let me say this again: that if a teacher is feeling by any chance, frustrated or not happy, this thing they should keep in mind always, and that would uplift their morale. that you make a big difference in people's lives. You don't even know. I mean, I even don't know. And some years later, some former student turns up and says, "Sir, you said that and that thing 7 years ago, and that stuck to my mind. And here I am doing this, and I'm so happy that that thing happened." And I said, "You should have told me back then. I would have felt happier." But even now, when they say that, and not a single month, I would say, or a week goes by that we come across such meetings or such running into old students who are doing extremely well. So this is how I would like to just summarize that the whole journey has been like that. And I think if the creator gives me more opportunities, I'll continue with this definitely.
Definitely. So
Right.
that's, I would say, teachers like you are the reason why teachers like me always have hope for this profession. Somehow I've always been told that, Sindhis, why don't you go back in corporate? Why don't you start off with the thing you were, you started off your career with? I feel like that the joy and the special feelings that you get in teaching, there's just so much you can give out there. There's like, you can make a complete difference in, somebody, or even in one individual's life. I think that's a huge opportunity that we teachers have. So talking about students that you interact with, because obviously you have OA level students interacting with you, all of them are
Yes.
super career, oriented. Some of them are completely lost at what do we have to do. You have mixture of students coming into you. You are, a teacher at Nixer, all the students over there. They say that the cream students go over there. So definitely, you must have had different situations coming in when students are coming to you. How do you see now that career opportunities, especially in business and accounting, have changed over the years?
I think to just put it into very easy words, more computerization has happened. So I have been telling this and to my students that do not miss out on learning this new skill. And sometime later, I think even now it has started that knowing computer applications or being able to design them or at least operate them. I mean, let's even talk about Microsoft Excel. During student life, students do get a lot of opportunities to work with PowerPoint or some uh, uh, you
Different
know
microphone. Absolutely, yeah.
different applications or these Microsoft Word, but Microsoft Excel happens to be uh, kind of sidelined. But it is very important now to know even this and other software which are coming. And nowadays, almost all companies, I mean, at least the ones I know, even small organizations, are now installing and implementing the ERP, the Enterprise Resource Planning systems. So, if during student life, in O levels or A levels, if students start to gain some skill or some exposure at least to this particular field, it would work in two ways. Number one, it would help them in their jobs if they do their own jobs. And number two, this itself can blossom into a career. Because now we have seen with our own eyes this huge pandemic that we are going through, and online working and working from home and distance learning and teleworking. These were concepts which were not mainstream but sidelined. But now, slowly and gradually, they will become mainstream. So this is a big difference. And very recently, I came across a very good example. A former student of mine about 7 years ago who did A levels with me is now working in a multinational company and perhaps outside of Pakistan. And he did, I think, his ACCA or C. I'm not sure about that, but he definitely did go for the accountancy profession. Now, when he was with me in A levels, he was a very good student, and I had always kind of foreseen that he would become a good person in his professional life. He was also, I think, the captain of the college team, cricket team. And fast forward, just few months back, he contacted me and said that he wants to do a degree now. Now, 7 years later, despite being a professional accountant in fintech. Fintech is financial technology, and he said that he wanted a recommendation from me to get admission in master's program in I think UK. He was applying to Malaysia and in the UK. And I was a bit taken aback. I said, "Yeah, you have 7 years of career of professional working. Why don't you ask some boss of yours to make a recommendation for?" Now imagine what he said. He said, "No, sir. 7 years ago, you mentioned this word fintech in the class, and I did.
Oh God.
I remember." Because at that time it was still, I mean, for Pakistani market, it was slightly a new field, but international markets in London and New York and so on and so forth, that was still becoming the norm. So now he wants to go back and do a master's in
Wow.
financial technology. And I said, see, I mean, both the points got connected here. One, as a teacher, I felt the good feeling that made something good to the student, and he's now capitalizing that. And number two, it was a certification. We got ascertained that financial technology is now going to change the profession of accounts and and finance. So I tell all my students now who take up business, accounts, mostly commerce students. We do have science students as well, but do not miss the opportunity of learning computer science together with commerce. So this is a big change now.
Mm.
Secondly, I'd like to add, nowadays the students have to be more of a global citizen. By by that I mean that their knowledge and their perspectives should not be local. The whole world is now very well connected, but what I see, the students are not aware of international issues. For example, just recently I was talking about in my class that, do you know about commercial geography or international politics? Now these are commerce students. Few of them who study law perhaps or study international history, they have some or the other idea about, but a big majority, and not to sound biased, but the the lady students I have sort of had a big question mark that they're not aware of these things. Now, the thing is this, that commerce has become globalized.
True.
And if a commerce student is lacking in the understanding of global politics or international economics and how trade routes work, how shipping works, so this is the extra thing they should learn about. And there are lots of good books, plenty of material on the social media. There are lots of nice books out there. So this is the extra bit I tell my students. Apart from your syllabus, do take interest in these things. That would make you a better candidate to be selected for future opportunities. And even if they want to do their own business, they would be a better, strong competitor against someone who doesn't know these things.
Hmm. True that.
So this
I
is the,
definitely agree to the fact that, so I also believe that even though my profession is teaching and I'm completely in the field of education, my mentor, Omar Khan, even told me that when I was, doing these interviews with him, he told me something that always experience different things. What if you can actually, find this as a skill? And now, mashallah, I've been doing this. It's been almost now 5 months, and I'm thankful to the university as well for giving me the opportunity. But then again, that's how I explored. I explored something new in my career. That's how we learn different things. And we should always be open. And I totally agree with your point that even though I'm a linguistic student, my major is computational linguistics. I do deal with applications and
yes.
all those in-text speeches that go on, so that I can see where we can actually develop better linguist in a person. Talking about so taking computer science or computer related IT fields with your teaching, how much do you think that now the careers, when it comes to business and accounting, usually people just go for BBA without an understanding of what they want to do? It's become a very very simple norm that everybody wants to do BBA, even though they're probably going to end up in some other field, or maybe not even any field. Maybe they'll do something completely different. Uh,
Right.
what do you suggest students that what are the important cores that they should understand when they're actually, what should I say, admitting themselves in the BBA field?
Uh, I would have to say this rather bluntly, that the BBA course needs massive revamping and restructuring. BBA courses are not, as such, bad courses, but they serve a certain purpose, and those purposes are now becoming a bit outdated. So, number one, the business schools must uh, restructure and redefine and introduce new concepts or new modules or new subjects inside the BBA program. Now, having said that, the BBA program or even the MBA program would make you a better manager. However, it would make you more of a generalist rather than a specialist. So, uh, I would say that students may take, let's suppose, a gap between, let's say, their graduation and their masters, and or if they don't want to take a gap, at least start gaining some expertise in computer applications or software or any other skill which they feel that they're good at. For example, in the world of business nowadays, animation or knowledge about how to animate a presentation or a website or any material, that is a very strong skill. I even saw some advertisements where the advertiser had said this, that if a business graduate would have animation skills, they would be given preference. Now, with this plethora of free stuff and tutorials on YouTube and so many other websites, or even the paid ones are really low cost. And I very well know that because of the COVID pandemic, lots of big content providers reduced their prices or offered some
Yes,
modules
yes.
free.
There are people have even
What
opened their resource libraries for our research
exactly?
papers.
Exactly. Also, language skills count a lot. I have encountered this problem that students have deficiencies in language, both in spoken and written. Now, both these skills count a lot in the world of business. Even if you're a local operator or a local trader, language skills one day or the other would either hamper your business progress or make you, leap forward. And if you are targeting global markets, and we must do that. See, we are a huge country, and I feel we are massively underutilized. We have excellent human resources, excellent physical resources, but we don't know how to use them. And there are lots of buyers sitting outside of our country who could be the market for us. So, who's going to do that? A student who has subject knowledge, but also knowledge about international demand and their customs and languages, and who can work on making good presentations, for example, animations or something like that. So I think this is going to be now a basic necessary skill in future. So the BBA program can be enriched. It can be what it is, but with added new subjects to it. And I think as teachers and as yourself, who happens to be associated with the university, uh, should recommend this to the the syllabus making boards and all these higher authorities. And they need to change the subject contents and add on these very practical skill based subjects
Hmm.
which would add value to the students profiles, so when they jump into the job market they're ahead, rather than them learning over there, struggling and
So true.
going through that on the job training program, which is very frustrating for some people.
That's so true. I totally agree to the point that, on the job training is actually, first of all, I recently had even Sir Ali Pasha with me, and he told me that, so this now we don't have time to train the students. We want to learn
Exactly.
students. We just want the students who are trained so that we can just leave them in the field, they explore, they give us creativity, they give us innovation, we don't mind. But then just taking somebody from the scratch, would be something that I would, like, he himself was actually, training students. He's like, I would never do that. I would never take a student, who I have to
That's
train
true.
the whole thing again with. So sir,
That is
talking
true.
about the job market, and obviously as a student, it's always so scary thinking about, I'm gonna go and start off a job. It was even scary for me back 6 to 7 years. So you tell me how much do you want your students when they enter into the practical field to have a mindset of, because usually students have this hypothetical thinking when it comes to jobs. They don't understand that there's a lot of vigorous routines, a lot of struggles that come in the starting of 3 to 4 years. What would you tell them?
I tell them very few things, so it's easy to remember. The first thing nowadays, which I'm telling them, is that they should have strong emotional intelligence. Now, this is a new subject, a new topic rather. Um, there's a famous writer, Daniel Goleman, who wrote about it. His books are available, very small, easy to understand books. And even in the subject I teach, A level business, there's a small portion which discusses emotional intelligence in very short, easy ways to understand it. It's how to manage your own emotions, for example, of anger and frustration and depression, and also the ability to understand the emotional situations of others, who could be your customers or your colleagues or even your staff. uh, Emotional intelligence, if it is weak, it would make any person um, get easily depressed and physically, maybe susceptible to some disease or something like that. So this is something which we can teach our students by the name of self management. What I tell my students is this: you have two choices. Either you go after your education and do a job somewhere, work under somewhere, under somebody's supervision. So there will be a management and you will be an employee. Or you don't do this and you have a mindset of saying, okay, I don't want to work under someone, I'll have my own business. Well, in both these conditions, you should have, yeah, the skill, obviously, but in addition to that, you should also have strong emotional intelligence. And what I tell my students, particularly the ones who want to start their own business, is this: do not degrade and do not scoff upon the people who go for jobs. This general mentality that the people who go for jobs are somehow the other cowards or something like that.
So true.
No, they're not. What I'll tell you is this: they have a good opportunity of learning, and then they can gradually start their. You have to do the learning first. You can't be a master first of all. You have to be a learner first of all, and then
True.
you graduate into the mastery or the control, the command of something. So I tell my students, if you have aspirations and ambitions to start your own business sometime in life, if you already have it, let's say your father or your family already started it for you, still you have to go and learn. Okay, well, if you don't have such a setup already in the family, first of all, go and learn somewhere, spend some years over there, learn the basics, learn how the things are done, develop this self management, develop this anger and stress management and your behavior management, and then start a business. Because when you do your own business, you have to manage others.
True.
What will happen if you're not even managing yourself? So that would be a total flop. I've seen that. I've seen that in my life, in professional experience, also in personal instances as well. So this is the new add-on I do with my students. I tell them, develop a strong personality, and then join the job market, or go for your own business, or at least learn a little bit first. That's what
Mm,
I
that's
tell them.
That's so true. I would take your point forward that definitely, as a student, especially my teachers always told me that, and this, the much you'll learn, the much hard work you'll be putting in, after some years, that hard work is going to be your experience, and you're going to, ease out in the job. That was so true. I
Exactly.
totally agree to that. That अगर मैं 6 साल पहले की बात सोचूं, and when I started my career, I was 18. So I was like, how am I going to do this? This is very hard. What am I going to do? How am I going? It was very hard to even manage certain things. But maybe because of entering the job market and going in different fields and doing the job, I kind of realized what my base was, what my self management skills were. So any student watching us, I would definitely, second Sir Zishan's point of view, that please understand that not everything is meant to be, but you can make it happen when you actually, go by process. You can just not omit the process and just go by the product. I always believe
Right.
that there's a whole process with it. Sir Zishan, thank you so much for coming, and thank you so much for giving me your time. You've been very, very sweet and generous of accepting my, offer, and you came without any these.
It's a pleasure. It's
So
a
tell
pleasure
me,
and
how
honor.
does Thank you so much. How was your experience with Greenwich University's live shows?
This is excellent. I think it's an excellent initiative, and there should be more of this, maybe more formalized. I mean, obviously, this is an online platform, but I do know that universities arrange seminars,
Yes, yes.
or even the physical ones. Obviously, we have these days the restrictions, but I think this is an excellent initiative, and I would appreciate this continues with a huge variety of professionals, entrepreneurs, and people from all walks of life. That this would be an amazing experience rather than just going through meaningless TikTok content. Why not this content and learn from the experienced professionals, or the ones who are ready to share their experiences with the young generation.
So true. I do definitely agree to this, that bringing all you mentors and all your teachers is actually a very big opportunity for us students to actually show the students that, the teachers, when they're outside the classroom, they actually have some valuable insights to give. Because usually in the classroom, we have such, time restrictions. We're not able to tell them that, this is a part of your life
Exactly.
as well. You have to focus on this. So
That's
thank you
right.
so much, Sachin. I really appreciate my regards to you from the university as well. So this was Sir
Thank
Zeeshan
you.
Ansari with us. He is a business and accounting teacher at very prestigious and renowned institutes. My idea for calling Sir Zishan was to make the students understand that education and reimaging education is not only directed to English or education students as well. It's a very big genre. I will be actually interviewing different entrepreneurs, different trainers, different mentors, so that you understand that you take a first-hand side and what they have to experience, what they have to talk about in terms of the job market. My career counseling session will be here whole November. If you have any queries, any problems, and if you want me to talk about anything that you believe is a hindrance in your career or you want to jump to a different conclusion, please let me know. I'll be more than happy to help you out. Thank you so much, Greenwich University, for giving us this platform where we all come, sit together, and talk about certain things and rationalize the content that how we can actually make, education field and reimage education in a better way. This is me, Sindhu Sanwar, signing off. Thank you so much for your time, everyone. Allah Hafiz.